I don't know what prompted me to be so brave to just, I'll try it and see what happens.
Yeah,
And
good on you. I'm so glad you did. Now I don't have to be brave. I can just do it.
yeah, right.
Okay, so welcome to the show, everybody. We're up to chapter 7 of Porn of Prophecy, and this is the Belgariad and beyond.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Alysia, I'm saying your name the wrong way. It really annoys me. Alysia.
Alysia, that's right.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah, it feels good to be back.
I know. We've had a 2-week break for your Thanksgiving. I say your Thanksgiving because I'm not in America. I don't have that holiday.
Yeah, Thanksgiving was last week here, and it was nice to have a little bit of just chill time. So
cool. And so we'll get right stuck into it. And this week, my week has been salty with a sweet center because it's been really, really busy, but busy with work that I love and that feeds my soul and makes my heart sing and all of those beautiful metaphors. And I've been busy getting together a workshop, a mindfulness workshop, and I presented it yesterday and it was a fantastic success, a free online workshop that I did. I will put a link in the show notes so that you can check it out, guys, if you want to. It was a lot of fun and I've really missed teaching because I'm used to teaching in small groups like in person, but this is the first online workshop that I've done and it was great. Worked really well. So I'll be doing more of that. And so that was sort of the salty because I really worked really hard. Like I was totally kind of focused and I worked really hard to produce all of the workbooks and slides and the guided meditation. And so there was lots of creative energy going into that. And then sort of in the middle of it, I had a visit from a new friend who is in one of my online groups, and we discovered that we lived like an hour and a half away from each other. And she came for lunch. It was so great. And you probably can't see me and none of you can see me because this is a podcast. But behind me, I have this huge unicorn balloon. And I'll show you later, Alysia. But it just arrived one day like this. I had no clue, this huge box on my doorstep. And I opened it up and this big unicorn popped out and I just like literally laughed out loud. And it just was so wonderful and such a surprise. And so that's the sweet center of my week.
Was there any purpose to this unicorn balloon?
Well, it was a gift from my new friend.
Okay.
And just like a happy kind of one of those just because gifts. It was so nice. So, hang on, you start talking about your week and I'm going to get the balloon to show you.
Okay. So let's see, my past week has been pretty sweet. Though I did have a couple days in there were trying to test me. I see the balloon. That is very cool. That is pretty cool. Awesome unicorn right there. So
I couldn't even hear what you were saying.
I know. I said that looks like a pretty awesome unicorn right there.
It's huge. It's like bigger than my body.
Oh yeah, that's a big balloon. That's cool. I'll have that. It's a good inspiration through the day.
It is kind of fun. I forget it's there and then I turn around.
Yeah. But I was saying my week has been pretty sweet, except that there were a couple days that really were testing me on, are you going to let yourself fall back on all this not positive, I don't like using the word positive, but on all this good work you've been doing. And
nice reframe. I get really kind of, a little bit jinky about the whole positive thing.
Yeah, me too. That's something I've really been discovering, which is what's been the really sweet part of all of this stuff is that I got so sucked in for years on this, just think positive and just like reprogram the negative thoughts and you will create everything you
Oh my
want,
God, that makes
right?
great
It's
so
it's it's kind of like I don't know, the law of attraction even for me is starting to feel kind of icky. And I don't talk down on it at all for people that it works for. That's great. But it hasn't worked for me. And for like 3 years of my life, though, I believed that that was my answer and that there was something wrong with me because I couldn't make it work. And I felt so like sick and heavy about it all the time because I'm like doing this every day. Nothing's happening. Why is nothing happening? And so a lot of stuff's come together for me, like books and other people who have these teachings that really resonate with me. And I've been just really focusing on not even positive or negative, just quieting and removing
it's about balance.
any thoughts.
Finding that balance.
Yeah. So that's what's been really moving me forward. And like a lot of these heavy emotions and thoughts that used to consume me, I'm able now to just like release them. So I've been really pushing that in my own life. And the other thing that was really, really exciting though was last Tuesday, my second novel was published on Amazon.
I'm so excited about this. It's very cool.
Yeah, it was really awesome. And I got, I did the whole, like, it was like a small book launch.
Don't be vague. Don't be vague. Everybody has to listen to the title and listen to the author name and go and buy it because it's and it's awesome. Come on, tell us all the things.
Okay, so the book is called The Wonder Soul, and it's a journey. It's my own journey, of course. I always write from my own life and put it into my fiction, but it's a journey of a girl who not only has she forgotten about the magic that is her life and that exists around her, but she's also going through a lot of stuff in the external world that's throwing her for a loop, that's knocking her down. And then she decides that it's time to make some change. So she just up and leaves her home and starts to travel, visits different places and experiences different things. Some of them magical, some of them a little bit scary. But she comes across this family while she's in Ireland that really kind of takes her in. And that's where stuff really starts to happen for her and open up, and she begins to come more into herself, but she also begins to understand the magical world in this whole new way.
Oh, I'm so excited. That sounds so good. Doesn't that sound good, dear darling? No?
Yeah, it's exciting. It's already gotten like 6 or 7 5-star reviews, and
that's just so wonderful. I am going to put a link in the show notes, everyone, so you can go and click, and go and check it out.
Yeah.
And if you are a listener of this show and you're up to episode 7, you like this kind of shit that we're into, so go check it out.
Yeah, my books are definitely everything that this podcast is about. It's about magic and reality are really one and the same, and it's
seeing different layers of life.
Yeah. So that's pretty much been my week. It's been mostly really, really good.
Cool. So I'm going to test you now. It's time for the chapter summary. Garion's view from Alysia Seymour.
Yeah, let's see how I can do, because it's been now like 2 weeks since I've read it. But from what I remember is in this chapter, they arrive at Garion, is how you pronounce it.
Mm-hmm.
So Garion's kind of, at first he's like awestruck by it because he can see the ocean and the sea behind it. But when he gets to the city, they arrive there, he quickly learns that it's not really a place he wants to be. And, they find a place to stay. They convince the people there that they're selling turnips. And Garion is starting to question a little bit Aunt Pole and Mr. Wolf, like, who are they really? He even talks to Dernick about it because it's starting to really bother him. And then, like, I think what really is the beef of this chapter is that he goes with Silk to try to sell these turnips so that they can get, so that it's convincing they're actually there to sell turnips. And then Garion kind of sees what Silk's life is really like, and that he has to lie in order to get what he wants. And they meet with some Murgos along the way that seem a little bit questionable, but they make an agreement to buy the turnips, and they're off to a new place to make this deal happen.
That is a chapter in a nutshell. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I did my best.
So what about this chapter? I'm liking that we're sort of getting to see how Garion's thinking, and he's kind of come right out. Like, there's no more little boy thinking going on. He's starting to think a bit more critically and wonder what actually is going on with the people who are closest to him, you know, in his life. And I love when he goes to talk to Dernick.
Yeah.
It's like they're the odd ones out almost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like he's sensing that Dernick is the one who's most like him because they're kind of more normal, whereas the others seem to have like a really deep history. There's something more to them than he can understand, where Dernick, I think, to him seems pretty plain and clean cut. Yeah. Is like, what you see is what you get.
Yeah. So you get the real sense that Garion feels connected to Dernick in a way that he doesn't feel connected to the others, even though, you know, Aunt Pole, like Lady Polgara, is Aunt Pole. And so he's sort of, you can almost see him trying to work out that whole relationship thing when he's talking to Dernick and asking questions about Aunt Pole and about how, you know, what she was like when Dernick first met her, like when Garion was a tiny baby and she came and she was like, what did Dernick say? She was angrier than anyone he had ever seen. The angriest that he had ever seen anyone be angry when they arrived at the farm. But she hasn't changed. Like, oh, she must have been much younger than Garion says. And Dernick says, no, Mrs. Pole never changes.
Yeah, that comment kind of caught my attention because, like, okay, does that mean she's always looked the age she is right now and she's not really aging, or is it just,
or is he just infatuated?
Yeah, or maybe he's talking more about like her mannerisms and like the way she carries herself, and
because Garion challenges that, like, oh no, it just seems that way. And no, it's like, no, she's exactly the same now as she was then. So there is that. And the other thing, yeah. Did you make anything of when they came across the Murgo?
Yeah, that was like towards the end when he's actually trying to make the deal and stuff.
So they've sold this. So they've sold the turnips, and what they're doing now is looking for a cargo between two towns that they have to travel to. So they go to a different merchant, and at this other merchant, the merchant's talking to a Murgo, and whose name, I'm sure they said the name, so I feel it's Asherak of Rakgoska is the Murgo's name.
Yeah, so the thing I caught with this Murgo is that he looked at Garion in a way that seemed like he recognized him or something like that.
Well, it's fairly explicit. In the text, it says, like, they can't, Garion sort of had this funny tug. And it literally says in the text that it's sort of, sort of pulls out into the overview of a narrator saying, well, Garion had known him his whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And he recognized his form that had always sat on a horse with a dark cloak.
That's right. That's what it was. So this is the man who's been following him.
Yeah, so we found the dark figure in the shadowy figure. That's Asherak the Murgo.
Okay, so now the question is, why is Murgo following him around?
And in fact, is he, like, seems to be a coincidence that they come across each other there. And it's interesting, so at the end of the exchange between all these characters, we know that Asherak knows that Garion and Silk are lying, or Silk is calling himself by another name. Ambar of Kotu is his cover name. So the Murgo knows that they're lying, but Silk doesn't know that the Murgo knows that they're lying.
Yeah, I mean, at the end, he kind of comments that he does know, the Murgo knows he's up to something. I think he kind of hints at that, just like we know he's up to something.
Yeah, but he puts it in the context of, you can basically just assume all Murgos are spies and you wouldn't be far wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it doesn't go any deeper than that, whereas Garion knows this stuff, that he's, this figure, but he can't talk about it. Like it says, he wants to talk about it, but he can't make himself talk about it.
Yeah, there was the weird connection. Like I definitely picked up on that, and I forgot about the black hooded figure thing that he connected that to. But I did remember that he had some kind of strange connection with this Murgo about feeling like he knew him, feeling like, and the way the Murgo was looking at him, and he noticed it, and it's just something that I want to know more. Yeah, what does this mean?
So the Murgo's smug when we leave him. So he's obviously feeling very good about something. We don't know what that is. And the other thing, the
fingers,
the secret language is introduced. Yeah. This is the first time we hear about the secret language, the Dresnian secret language.
Mm-hmm.
Did you want to say something about that?
No, I'm going to save it for a little bit later. But yeah, I did. That was interesting how they had a whole conversation. I mean, kind of like sign language, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like there was a lot more to this than sign language would be. I feel like it was, almost like a magical thing to it of how they could do it so quickly. And
well, I think that I would have to Google it, and it could be that I am completely imagining this and just pulling something out of my ear for the entertainment of our listeners, but I have a feeling that there's some kind of Asian sign language that people do. So if you can imagine someone holding their hand out palm down, and you put your hand underneath so that their palm can feel what your fingers are doing, there's some kind of language like that, some sort of sign language like that, that's like a secret way that people doing business I think it's actually might be a real thing. So yeah. I'll make a note here to check it out, because that would actually be kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's some type of version out there of this, and I feel like it just took it a little step further for the story purposes to make it feel like it was kind of like a supernatural thing to be able to do it.
Did you feel like it was supernatural?
More like you have to have something instilled in you to be able to move your hands that way.
Understand.
I don't know.
So I think we skipped over the first half of the chapter and sort of dove right into the end of it.
Yeah, I was just looking through to remind myself here.
The start of it was they were kind of enjoying, Garion was enjoying the adventure on the road, and then it started raining a little bit and it wasn't quite so much fun. And then while they're traveling 3 days on the road, he mistakenly says to Aunt Pol, in response to her question, don't you have anything better to do, when he's starting to ask questions about stuff? Don't you have anything better to do? And he answers, no, not really. Never say that to a parental, because they will make you go clean something, which she did. And he had to go and do the dishes, like run to the stream. The idea of cleaning dirty dishes with cold stream water, I'm like,
yeah,
that's not going to work.
As he says, he's like, in cold water.
Yeah,
like,
he's horrified.
really?
Like, oh, you're not really going to make me do this.
Yeah, that was funny. And then like, you know, that's when they're starting. After that, they approach the city, and then, you know, he's kind of initially starstruck by it, but then once they get down to the gate, he's kind of like, oh, yeah. What is this place?
It speaks volumes about like perspective, doesn't it? Like it was all shiny and the ocean was gorgeous and he could smell the salt tang. It was beautiful. But then something up close to things.
And then they get in there, right? And he starts to see all the people, and he asks Mr. Wolf, what's wrong with these people?
Because they're all so grumpy.
They look unhappy. He's like, why does everyone look so unhappy? And Mr. Wolf's response was interesting because
do you remember what he says?
Yeah, he's like, they have a demanding god.
Worse than Torak even.
Yeah, and that god is money. And so again, I think there's like 2 different times in this chapter Garion seems to be put off about money, like, oh, and even before.
Well, not really put off, but like struck, like a kind of because it's such a foreign concept, like dealing with money.
Yeah, because before in a few chapters ago, and he didn't understand why they'd have to pay to go eat someplace. Like, why wouldn't they just give us the food? And now he's kind of tying these unhappy people now to the idea of money, and he kind of I got the feeling that he's like, oh, I wouldn't want to be here. I'm glad I don't live here.
Yeah.
Because if this is what
little things like that, and that's how our perceptions of something is born, right?
Yeah. But yeah, I think from there they go and find a place to stay. And
oh yeah, they do. And I just love when they go in and have the meal. Like, it's just a plain inn. It's nothing fancy. It's a little bit like, it's not like very common kind of inn.
Yeah.
Really enjoys the food, and it's because it's a change from turnips. And my favorite line in this chapter is Garion, something like, Garion was sure he'd never be able to look a turnip in the face again.
Yeah, I can imagine living on turnips is not pleasant, especially if they're not cooked or seasoned or.
So I think they were living on turnip stew or something, and as good a cook as Aunt Pol is, there's only so much she can do with a turnip.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not there. And then they're talking about her Aunt Pol, and no, it's not Aunt Pol, it's Barrack and Aunt Pol. They're talking about the like who they're trying to follow, right? Because they thought maybe
the thing. Oh, that's right. Yeah,
they were here, and then they find out no, he didn't actually come this way.
Yeah.
And so now they're kind of regrouping around that too. Like, okay, well, what is the next step?
And there's something about in there, again, with this ability, the way that they're able, Mr. Wolf's able to track this thing. He talks about something leaving a trail so wide a thole could follow it. Now you get to know that tholes and Murgos and there's another tribe. They're all Angaraks and the Angaraks god is Torak. So they're like the bad guys in inverted quotes. All of those people, but the tholes work for the Murgos, and so they're kind of painted as stupid and sort of they're sort of the slaves of the Murgo. So when Mr. Wolf says, you know, it would have left a trail so wide, a thole could follow it.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
It's kind of like in Lord of the Rings with the Uruk-hai versus the orcs. Like the Uruk-hai actually have some knowledge and and the orcs just kind of
they're a bit craftier. Whereas the orcs are, well, actually, yeah, that was so interesting. And I didn't realize they were as evolved as they are until I read the books.
Mm-hmm.
And realized that they had dialogue and like they interacted, and it was so much more complex than the movie made out.
Right. They actually were like in charge of the orcs, like these
they were
guys that just ran around and destroyed everything. These guys kind of kept them in line and made sure they were on track to what they were supposed to be doing.
That was an eye-opener for me when I read it. I was like, wow, okay, cool.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of. The Tholes are like orcs, and then the Murgo are like, I mean, give or take, like Uruk-hai.
Yeah. They're not monsters. They're sort of humans. So.
Right.
And Paul did all the whole told you so. Yeah.
And Wolf just brushes it off, and he's like, all right, well, now we're going to Muros, because that's where he will be.
Well, we'll check at Muros, and that's the next place they're going. So there seem to be fairly serious limits about this following distance.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like Wolf is leading them all in this blind chase that nobody else knows, or at least from Garion's perspective. Wolf and Aunt Pole seem to know a little bit about what's going on, but nobody else really does.
So what this says to me is that these people, like Silk and Barak, trust Mr. Wolf and Aunt Pole. Mm-hmm. They must either have some kind of fairly serious shared history, personally or by name. And so what is that? What is that connection? Because there's obviously this huge thing, and they trust Mr. Wolf and Aunt Pole. Like there's no questions asked. They just do what Mr. Wolf says.
Yeah, they've obviously worked with him before. They know him well, and I'm sure they have like a history of why they so easily just do what he says. He's probably proven to them before that he can be trusted, and he's probably helped them out before too.
Yeah. So is there anything that we're missing? I think we covered the main points.
I think that that was about it, and then it just ends with them like off to the next stop, right? Because they're gonna do the trade with the turnips, or however that's working.
I like how the chapter ends, but I know that you said you wanted to touch on it later, the secret language.
Yeah, it's under my one of the other segments.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen.
Oh, the next segment actually. So we can just move on to that.
Oh, there it is. I totally missed that. Oh, sorry.
So I'll go then for the magic. Like the magic of this chapter for me was like I said, to me it felt like a magical thing for some reason. It may not be at all, but when he first watches Silk using his fingers to speak to the Murgo, the way they do it, just the way he observes it, he feels, again, he's just like a boy seeing the world for the first time. Like, wow, what is all of this? Like how do you do that? And so it just had a kind of magical feel to me from Garion's perspective.
That wide-eyed wonder.
Yeah. Like a little kid, like, oh my God, what is that?
And I just have to say, he wasn't talking to the Murgo because they're not friends. He was talking to another Drasnian. It's the Drasnian secret language.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's
See,
important.
that's the stuff that blurs for me after some time.
But there are so many names and there are so many characters, and I only know them, because I know the story so well.
Right.
I hope
Right.
I hope that's okay that I kind of point that stuff out, because
No, I'm glad, because it's gonna take me time to like get
yeah,
used to who's who and like what's what, and
yeah.
I need to be reminded.
So if I can help you understand how it all fits together, or like the big picture stuff, then I can do that.
Yep.
Okay. So my magic is, thinking very quickly because I'm completely unprepared, is the connection between Asherak the Murgo and Garion, because that's deep, deep, mysterious, intimate stuff, and I want to know more about it.
Yeah, that's a good one. Because I'd completely forgotten about that part. I may have picked that myself, but yeah.
Okay.
And how about for you? What part of this chapter do you relate to in your real life?
So it's a really simple little tiny part of the chapter, but Danik asks, not Danik, Garion asks if he can go with Silk the next day to help him when he goes to sell the turnips, like to go out into the city. And Aunt Pol gives her permission, saying, "Oh yeah, there are some things I would like to take care of without him around."
Mm-hmm.
And I just so get that. My daughters are nearly 17 and 21 now, but the times when it was like the 24/7 job being the mum, just was like, you just every now and then wanted just half an hour where you could just go to the toilet by yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I'm there right now because mine are 7 and she's 8 and 4. So it's like, I get it because I'm there right now. It's like, okay, guys,
I'm not laughing.
I know. Oh, I know. Moms relate. But yeah, it is like I just love to have my thoughts to myself for 10 minutes. Like, can I just do that? Go sit somewhere and just think. Just think. That's all I want.
So that was my personal insight.
Yeah, that's a good one. And I'm curious, what would she be doing in this time? Aunt
Well,
Pol.
What was it that she wanted to do? Was it just something really simple, like time to herself?
Go take a bath. Find a hot bath to soak in, or she's probably getting up to some mischief with Wolf, maybe. They're planning whatever they're doing.
Well, yeah, they could have been doing, who knows? I don't know. But
yeah, so mine is the part when they arrive in the city because I always felt like, and I related to this because I've always felt like this my whole life. I think I mentioned this before, and it's funny that it keeps coming up for me in this book. Like, it really pops out like this highlighted thing. But when they get to the city, and Garion immediately notices everybody is really unhappy and asks Mr. Wolf about why they are, and he says they have the demanding god that is money, who's worse than Torak. And it just, I don't know, to me it reminds me of how consumed our world is with money. And I think it's really tied to unhappiness as well, because people are just so, and I was too for a long time. I thought that money is what would make me happy. And it's not true. I mean, you could have millions of dollars and still be unhappy. So
what's enough?
Yeah. It's about, and I think too, the more you make money a focus, like when you feel like, especially when you're, like our government or something, whoever makes money such a like you have to do a job and pay bills and whatever in order to survive, then it becomes like a burden. And that's what this reminded me of. Like the people he was seeing, they felt like money was this big burden because they had to have it in order to survive.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I know those conversations. Money, yeah. I'm sure that will come up again throughout. It's like a continuing conversation.
Yeah.
The hang-ups we have around that energy we call money.
Oh, yeah. And so now, this is both of our favorite parts, right?
Yes, it's time for Prophecy Speaks, my loves.
Yay.
And so I'll start. This week I'd like to reconnect. I don't think that's the right word. Recommit to my morning routine. I've kind of fallen out of the habit, and I was going really well, and it was really setting me up for a good day. And so my morning routine, I get up early enough to meditate and journal and do some yoga, and then go for a shower before I go down and organize lunches and breakfast and stuff. And I haven't been doing it for almost 3 weeks. It's been a friggin' long time, and I can feel my back getting crunchy and my hips starting to ache, and I'm feeling squidgy in the mornings, and my head's thicker. Like I have admittedly been really sort of intense when I'm at work, but I'm not got that balance where I have me time, work time, me time. It's just work. Mm-hmm. And go down and get right into dinner because I've been really working quite long hours. So I just want to recommit to, that bit of self-care that was really, really good for me. And so I've got Women Who Run with the Wolves again, because it's a great book. And that's, I just want a bit of guidance and maybe a little bit of a kick in the ass.
All right. Let's see what you get.
Okay. What constitutes a healthy body in the instinctual world? At the most basic level, the breast, the belly, anywhere there is skin, anywhere there are neurons to transmit feeling. The issue is not what shape, what size, what color, what age, but does it feel? Does it work as it's meant to? Can we respond? Do we feel a range, a spectrum of feeling? Is it afraid, paralyzed by pain or fear, and anesthetized by old trauma, or does it have its own music? Is it listening like Balbo through the belly? Is it looking with its many ways of seeing?
I mean, I think the first line alone was like, okay, how is that even possible?
Hello. See, this shit works. And I have been that's so fucking prophetic, because we are literally changing the way that we take care of our physical bodies here. We've started eating less meat. We've just done a whole different kind of grocery shopping. We've just done our grocery shopping, and it includes like different kinds of lentils and chickpeas and black beans and chia seeds and sesame seeds and this huge ass bag of turmeric. Like, holy crap. It's massive. And so for the last 2 days, our Nutribullet actually arrived. For the last 2 days, we've had smoothies at breakfast time with kale and like all the good stuff. And we've been just starting to really take care of ourselves. And so, yeah, my morning ritual, and that's just like, hello.
Yeah, it's basically telling you get back to it. Come on.
Yeah, pretty much. So kicking my ass, thank you, universe.
And now, because we talked about that tonic last time, have you guys still been doing that?
My girlfriend's been taking it every morning and she's got this amazing energy. Her head is clear, her skin is clear, her eyes. So you've got to understand, she collapsed with chronic fatigue about 10 years ago. And since then, she's managed it with meditation and like self-medicating with meditation and just eating well and doing what she can. But she's always had the muscle fatigue and the kind of the droop to her shoulders.
Yeah.
She get tired really easily. And I used to be able to see when she was tired, her eyes would go ice blue and her pupils would like get pinprick. And now her skin has got this lovely summer golden pink flush. She's lost all of the fine lines out of her skin. Her eyes are this dark blue and her pupils are responding normally, you know, like a healthy person's. And she's standing up straight. She doesn't have any muscle fatigue or ache at all, except like what you would normally have with normal, you know, moving around or doing kind of activity.
Right.
And it's just like a fucking magic potion, truly.
That's really cool. Like I did try it. I think I did a total of like 5 days and it wasn't even all in a row.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure why I didn't stick with it. Like after 3 days, I didn't initially notice, but I also didn't like stop drinking coffee.
Neither have we.
Okay. Because I don't know. I think it became so intense for me in the morning. It was a little bit.
Yeah.
I kind of chickened out because I'm like, oh, it's so intense.
It is intense. Did you find a difference though?
I don't think I did it consistent enough to let it do that. And I'm trying to figure. I don't remember something was going on in those few days too, to where it was just extra on top to be like, I couldn't really notice.
Yeah.
It wouldn't allow me to really notice if it was working or not.
But like, so this is we didn't change anything else. She started this before we changed any of our eating stuff. Started taking this. And she's been doing it this will be the 3rd week. And
That's really good.
She even said, like, after the first few days, she's like, okay, when's this going to stop? This, you know, is this just like a placebo? Is it just working because I believe it's going to work? And when's reality going to kick in? And she still feels amazing, still working like a charm.
Yeah, that's really good. I mean, maybe I'll get to a place where I can do it consistently.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it didn't work for me either. It was too harsh on my delicate system. I'm a delicate little flower people, you know, history of hepatitis, got to be gentle with my tongue. And so I take capsules with turmeric and black turmeric and black pepper capsules. And that has been great for fluid retention and general inflammation in my body.
Yeah, my mom, she just started taking turmeric tablets. She was asking me about it because she knows I'm into all that kind of stuff. And so she's been doing it a little over a week now. And she's like, I think I'm feeling the difference. Like, I think for her, you know, she always has arthritis, carpal tunnel like I do. And her hands, her fingers won't work very well. And they're starting to like come back to life and stuff.
That's so exciting.
Yeah. So maybe I should just start with turmeric tablets too.
Yeah, we'll just see if they make a difference. And keep a journal. I recommend anyone who makes like conscious changes to your life, like in your self-care, spiritual, physical, whatever it is, just keep a note. You don't have to be fanatic about writing all of the details down unless you're into that, like I am and Alysia is. But just make a note of how you're feeling in general. Do a little check-in with yourself on the different levels, you know, physical, spiritual, mental, because you will not remember the changes. You think you will, but you won't. And you'll get to a point and you'll go, well, I feel okay, but it's no different. But if you had kept a track of things as it was happening, you would realize the extent of the changes that have happened. And it happens all the time. So that would be my recommendation, darlings.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so my prophecy, I'm doing today, the book is called Daring Greatly. It's by Brene Brown. It's pretty popular in the whatever world you would call it, mindset, I guess. But let's see, mine, what I've really been considering since I've been coming to all of this stuff is that starting today for 1 week, I wanted to try to kind of stop pushing anything and just be in a creative state and be in a state of like really connected to just in within myself. Mm-hmm. Not listening, not trying to absorb like how to do this and how to whatever, and just focus on that and see if anything changes in my business and my personal life. So I just want to see what comes kind of from that intention here. Let's see. So it says, we know that daring greatly means engaging with our vulnerability, which can't happen when shame has the upper hand. And the same is true for dealing with anxiety-fueled disconnection. The two most powerful forms of connection are love and belonging. They are both irreducible needs of men, women, and children. I think that's probably where I'll stop because she goes into some research.
What does that mean for you, darling?
So definitely the love and belonging. That's something I know. Belonging is something that I really value because I used to always try to like fit in, and instead I've been embracing to like belong with myself first and know that I'll belong everywhere else as a result. So I think
that's so lovely. That's beautiful right there.
Yeah, so I really think it's just pointing me in the direction of yeah, do what you want to do. Stop listening to what everyone else tells you should do.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I really wanted, it's like I don't like using the word test, but like an experiment to see if I can create even more like abundance, even more peace and whatever else that I'm searching for by ignoring, because like I've hired a business coach, I've enrolled in all these courses, and I feel like I needed it, but now it's time to just take what I need from them and just be like, okay, thanks.
And brilliant. Time to just trust you and make the decisions that you need to make.
Yeah, make my own plan. Like, forget what they say works. Because, again, just like what we said at the beginning of this, just because it works for somebody doesn't mean it's going to work for me. Exactly. And it hasn't been working for me. So I'm like, why do I want to do this? It feels so heavy.
Make your own rules, love.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is such a huge awareness to come to. It takes ages, and we have setbacks and fall back into the safety of someone else's opinion, and that's totally okay. But that once you have that kind of full on time for me to make my own rules, that will always be where you head towards, even if you backstep a few times.
Yeah, and it can take a really long time. It took me a really long time, and I'm still trying to get there completely.
Yeah, and we keep doing the tango, don't we? The cha-cha-cha, forward and back, forward and back.
Yeah, but it's a good message for everybody. Just do what feels right for you.
Absolutely. Okay.
All right.
That's us this week.
Hashtags. think we forgot last time, did we?
Oh, I can't remember. I'm very, very haphazard with these hashtags. I love the idea of them, but I'm not very consistent. So sorry, guys, but I do have a hashtag. I just got a hashtag. My hashtag is hashtag big ass bag of turmeric.
That's a good one. I had to choose.
Oh my God, are you actually going to? I just saw your hashtag. That's great. That's so good.
Yeah, mine I chose was finger language.
Hashtag finger language. You heard it here first, guys.
Yeah.
I love
It's
it.
going to be my new thing. I'm going to learn the finger language.
Okay. Sorry, I have such a dirty mind. Sorry, it's late. I have to go and good. Oh my God, I just made the veins in my temple bend. My head's throbbing. All of my contained naughtiness. All right.
That's
anyway,
funny.
my darlings, you can contact us at belgariadandbeyond@gmail.com. You can find out more about me and what I do at goddesskindled.com and yourkindvoice.goddesskindled.com.
Yep. And if you want to reach out to me, it can be I'm at AlysiaSeymour.com or on Instagram _Alysia Seymour.
And we have a new Instagram account.
Oh yeah, Instagram is up. Gonna get some posts up this week, and by the time this podcast is live,
With lots of yummy stuff to look at.
Yeah, and we'll be excited to connect with you guys.
So there'll be links in the show notes anyway, darlings. You don't have to remember all this and hold it in your head. There'll be lots of easy clickables for you to go to. And thank you so much for tuning in again and listening. And well, the last thing we need to know is where you think the story will go to next week. We missed it.
That's right. Is that even in here? Oh, here it is. Yeah, because I think we forgot last week too.
I'll do a tricky editing thing and put it back in where it's supposed to be.
Okay. So for the next chapter, my guess is that somebody's going to follow them from the city Doreen that they were in because they attracted attention, and Garion's gonna start to notice maybe who is following them or maybe who they're following.
Okay.
Whoever this person is. And I think something's gonna actually go wrong.
Okay. So prediction made.
Yep.
Hang on, I'm just gonna check last episode. I
don't think we did it.
Prediction for the next chapter. They'll arrive at their first destination. Garion will be forced to grow up too quickly from what he begins to see and experience. You were spot on. Good job.
Nice.
Okay, so we'll see how you did next week.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
All right, everybody. We will see you next week. And thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Alysia.
Bye, guys. Cool.
Done, ski. Done. Very good.